it's you need to diversify, right? You can't put all your eggs in one basket. And some people can't tie their head around leaving their own business to going into a separate business. But one good tip I have for you guys is, for example, if you're a restaurant and all you know is restaurant and you don't want to get into real estate, the least you can do is buy your restaurant.
Welcome to Unstoppable Podcast with Harry Sardinas, inspiring conversations with influential millionaires, investors, thought leaders, entrepreneurs who are making a massive difference with their innovative products and services, and sharing the challenges and the wisdom of how they sold their first million.
So, what message do you have, Islam, to the entrepreneurs out there that they have other businesses, okay, and they don't understand sometimes the risk that's involved in the business? So, for example, people are having a business and they're taking all the money that they're making in the business, putting it back on the business, making all the money in the business, putting it back on the business, where a more
Diversified
wise
approach.
idea should be make money in the business, take this money, buy a property, and the money that you get from the rest of the property, you put it back in the business. In case that business doesn't work, you still have the asset. So what message do you have for those entrepreneurs doing other businesses that still don't understand this part of the question, which is fundamental, which is mitigate your risk and buy some assets, and one of the most safety assets in the world is property? What do you think?
That's a great question, and you answered your own question, right? So it's you need to diversify, right? You can't put all your eggs in one basket. And some people can't tie their head around leaving their own business to going into a separate business. But one good tip I have for you guys is, for example, if you're a restaurant and all you know is restaurant and you don't want to get into real estate, the least you can do is buy your restaurant. You know, don't rent it. Buy the property that you're operating in. At least now it's not too far away from what you're doing, right? You're going to be saving your own money by not you're paying
100%.
yourself rent, right? You don't want to get into real estate, but this is your entry, right? This is your foot in the door, right? If you're very scared about going into another industry and you're very happy with what you're in and you don't want to diversify, the least you could do, the bare minimum, is don't rent. Don't rent. Buy your own office, buy your own restaurant, buy your own car wash, whatever business you're in, buy the property. And then from there you'll see it by itself. You'll see the tax benefits, the appreciation results. The opportunities are endless.
Great tip.
And another thing, sorry, one other thing is, with property ownership comes power, right? Your tax dollars. If you look at a tax map in the city, for instance, say there's a city that includes 50% Americans, 25% Hispanics, and 10% Middle Easterns. And out of that, demographics, 25% Latinos own 75% of the property, right? Who are these politicians going to try to please? Who are they going to want to make happy, right? The people who are paying the most tax dollars, right? So by owning property, you kind of give your ethnic group some more power, some more leverage, some more say 100%. in the city, you know? So don't think about yourself, think about your family, your aunts, like your group, you know, your community. Buy property for them.
100%, 100%. And then now there is one thing that that become that have been something that I want to point out is that this is a great tip, because if the entrepreneur can actually experience by themselves from very, very close that the benefit of real estate, as soon as they see the appreciation, as soon as they see, if they own the restaurant, now they're removing a lot of overhead from the restaurant, and they can use this money for marketing. They can use this money to open another restaurant. They can use this money to do everything, but you know what? They already bought it. What that means, if one day this business doesn't work, they can even rent it more expensive, and they can make a decent income and it doesn't depend
Yeah.
anymore for the restaurant. Or let's say they retired. They retired, want to sell the restaurant. Hey, you know what? Whoever is coming new, um, we pay you rent all your life. That's amazing. We can lease it from you.
Yeah. Of
Now,
course.
the other thing, Islam, is like, for example, in your business, one thing is to say, hey, I have a room in the basement. Let me put it in Airbnb and let's see how it goes. Play the different book game is to run an Airbnb business because the business that they are very intense in operation. I know because it was pretty similar than my one. When you have large volume,
Yeah.
it's a big operation going on. It's very profitable, but the
A lot of
operation
headaches, a lot of work.
is intense. Especially when we had it, I remember we have 24/7. We have two builders all the time around the properties. We managed to take like 28 properties, and they were rented by units. So it was very intense. Literally every day something happened, right? So we have
Yeah.
people
Yeah.
cleaning the properties. We have people doing repairs and maintenance on those properties. People were paying rent. So we had to check the accounts and pay bills and so on. So an AI was not there.
Yeah.
So do you think that AI has been a big part of your business to actually create the operation more effective and make you more productive against your competition?
Of course. Of course. So not just AI, you have to you know, integrate AI with some sort of automation tools, right? So it's more of the automation that helped me grow. AI is helping me expand and generate creative ideas, right? So when it comes to automation, for example, like something as simple as automating messages, right, for your guests. Prior to AI and automation, people would send a message or a message template. Hey, here's your check-in
Welcome.
information. Hey, I hope everything's going well. Hey, here's how to check out. I haven't sent a message in, I think, 2 years. I haven't sent one message in 2 years, right? A human hasn't sent one message in 2 years for our company. Like it's uh, and every now and then we have to intervene, and there's some stuff that the AI and the automation doesn't catch. But when we're messaging over 1,000 guests a month, right? Or
Wow,
how are we going to communicate with all those guys like without the
100%.
use of computers, right? I'd have to hire a whole team for it, right? We have a team, but I don't want to use. God gave us a brain to think, not to sit there and do mundane tasks over and over again, like a factory, right? Hi, hi, hi. We need to also use our brains to do some stuff. So it allowed us. What it really allowed us to do is save time and use that time to grow, right? Because there's no way to grow unless you can sit down in a quiet place and think, what are my problems? What am I going to do about them? How are we going to grow? And how are you going to think if you're busy answering messages, right? And that's just one example. There's 1,000 other ways we've used it, but that's the most basic one. And most of the people now that are involved in property management use automated messages. It's nothing new. So that's just like a simple example, but we use it for almost everything in the business.
Wow, that's fantastic. And I want to congratulate you for that because a lot of people are saying, well, AI is taking jobs away from people. This is not fair. But I think that as entrepreneur, right? If we don't embrace AI in our own businesses, um, what could happen is it's not gonna be business at all. It's not gonna be job for
Yeah,
anybody.
yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
because the competition is actually using it. So how we need to look at AI, and this is what is important, Islam, is that everybody realize that the people that will stay in the game, the people that will find jobs, are those ones that knows how to use this AI tool to be more productive. Because this is the type of individuals that companies will be looking for. Companies still need they need the people, but they need
Yeah.
more productive and efficient people. So if they know how to learn that, I tell that to my employees. I said, listen, guys, you have to embrace and learn AI. It's not because of hurry. It's because, if you don't do it, I will keep you obsolete myself. So so we all gonna be obsolete, including me. So we have to if we are in business, this is how it's gonna be. So we all have to start to embrace and to research and to seek how these tools can actually benefit. We're taking a step forward. We're creating a AI solution for our own businesses. So we have our own softwares
That's actually what I'm doing now. We create softwares. We create custom softwares for my businesses and for other people's businesses because I moved my living area. I'm in the Middle East for the last 6 months. So
Wow.
I'm creating a software. We have a software web app and web development company here. So we have very, very skilled labor in Egypt. So I do all of my technical hard web app, web development work, all that stuff in Egypt because the cost is a little bit cheaper as well as the skills are a little bit higher here. The level
Good
of
idea. Good idea.
yeah,
It's
it's very
amazing
good.
weather there, yeah?
Yeah.
It's
It's
very,
actually
very
pretty cold
good
right
idea
now.
to run away from the
Look,
winter to be in Egypt, yeah?
I swear, look, I'm actually pretty cold. I'm wearing my jacket. It's very cold.
Yeah. I've been in Sharm el Sheikh there.
Ah,
Yeah.
you're a tourist over here,
Yeah.
huh?
Yeah. And Cairo and so on. So I've been there. I know how beautiful it is
Yeah,
and
I'm
how
in
amazing
Cairo
is
right
the
now.
weather. Yeah. Great idea. So the so again, to having what gave you the idea or the course do you learn? Did you open any book? Do you learn from a friend? How you decide to become an entrepreneur here? Because like I said, one thing is to rent your
Yeah,
own basement and make
yeah,
a little extra money.
yeah,
Completely different ballgame
yeah,
is say, oh, look, I'm gonna turn this into a business. I'm gonna start to look for property. I'm gonna start to manage those property, and I'm gonna build a business out of this, an Airbnb business out of this.
yeah.
So what happened? Do you read the book? Do you have a friend? What made you to build the business?
So, getting into entrepreneurship itself was just ingrained in me as a kid. My father always told us that having like a 9 to 5 job won't really, it's not the worst thing in the world, but
Wow.
you'll never become rich, right? You won't become financially independent. It'll be very good. You'll be in a safe spot. You'll have your health care, your insurance, all of that stuff, but it'll never pull you out of that middle class. So we always knew that we wanted to do something. And Airbnb wasn't my first business, right? My first ever business was staffing. I had a staffing agency that we work with venues and stadiums to bring them workers, right? People who need work. We connect them with people who need workers, and we bridge that gap, and we make our margin on those guys, right? Then
Wow.
after that was the Airbnb, and then the car rental, and now this web app, a web development company, and so it's ingrained in us as children. My father always explained to us it's not bad. It's very good to have a 9 to 5, but
Was your
you just
dad
have
an
to be okay with
entrepreneur?
He was. He was
Wow.
a very successful one to his
Really?
standards because when he came here, uh, his first job was to deliver food on foot. He was a delivery walker, I guess, on in New York City, and then he
Yeah, New York is
ended up
like
driving.
London. You can actually walk,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
You don't need a
Then
car.
he ended up driving a yellow cab for a little bit, and then he started. He was just like a black car driver, like those town cars.
Follow us for more interviews with world's most influential, audacious entrepreneurs that overcame challenges and adversity, providing you with the blueprint of how they sold their first million so you can grow your business exponentially.